Greetings, I'm Dave Householder, and I am blessed to be your daily Bible teacher, bringing you encouragement during these discouraging times. And there's no better place to go when you're discouraged than Psalm number 3, Psalm 3, written by David. And why would I say that? Well, David, you see, had a little bit of a political problem, and you think today's political problems are tough. His son decided he was going to rebel against him, get a whole bunch of people to do an armed revolt, take over the capital city, which he did, and chase David into the woods. Now, you might have had some bad days, but probably not that bad. So David was being pursued by Absalom, his son, who had just taken over the kingdom, and he still loved his son. And yet his son basically wanted to kill him and take over the kingdom. So if you think you've got family problems, well, he certainly did. And he was running for his life. And here's how the Psalms usually go that David writes. David comes from a place of stress, real stress. He doesn't just sit down and say, today I'm going to write a psalm. No, he doesn't do it that way. He's facing a big deal, and he uses writing to find his way to a place of joy and a place of God's grace. And it's usually a struggle. Most psalms go like this. Lord, why aren't you protecting me? This is a mess. You're making me look bad. You give me these promises and you're not coming through. And I'm in big trouble. People are coming after me. I've got enemies and it's tough. Really, really tough. And then he starts working his way through the psalm. And by the end, he's experiencing the presence of God in what he calls chesed. And chesed is the unearned, abundant love of God, which is broadcasting 24/7, coming down like rain all of the time in creation. And he has to find his way to that. So the Psalms you can call the Psalms literary efforts coming out of massive stress in the direction of chesed, seeking chesed, God's grace, not just God or God, an idea of God, but God's presence, his grace, his favor, his delight in you. So you really can't do better than Psalm 3. I'd like you to look it up. And if you've got a big issue, you might want to get a pen and paper and write it down and start it like David does, a complaint against what's going on. And sometimes even David writes a complaint against God. And then he works his way towards seeking God's grace, God's love, and God's favor. And that's remarkable, absolutely remarkable. David was just wonderful at doing this, and we are beneficiaries of his prayer journal. So pick up Psalm 3 today and think about using them as a way to find your way to God's grace, God's chesed, God's unearned, unmerited, abundant love, which is there for you no matter what you do, no matter where you've been, no matter what kind of situation you're in. It's always there waiting for you. You just have to pursue it like David. That's the good news for today, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow.